On-Screen Manitoba is an innovative membership-driven association that leads, builds, and represents the Manitoba screen-based industry.
My first solo film was called Mohawk Girls, and when it came time to get an editor, I think we all made a mistake. I made a mistake. The producers made a mistake. We didn't interview. I was a new solo filmmaker, and everyone's idea was to pair me up with a really senior editor. And the more senior and more experience we could get, then wow, great. That's really going to help. So the first one we got to bite, we took without an interview. And we just jumped into that relationship. And again, it's like dating. You could go on a first date, and it could go terribly. And then if they call you again, you will not go out with them again. And then if it's great, then wow, fireworks and it's fun and woohoo. So I jumped in to like a marriage with somebody I had never even met, and it was a huge mistake. Because it's about relationships. It's about how you communicate with one another. It's how you understand one another. It was a real, it was a really awful experience actually for me as a young filmmaker. This process, this editing process. So that's why it's so important. I learned you interview people, you get to know them, and it's not this stiff interview across a table. You can go out to dinner and talk to them, find out who they are, find out what type of person they are, have a few laughs, see if you can laugh with them, because you're going to be holed up for a really long time with them, and you have to create magic together. So you want somebody you want to hang out with a long time. Awards are great, all the experience that they have is great, and if they have a bunch of films that you love on their resume, that's great, but for me, it's always the interpersonal one-on-one. What is that first? And that's my advice, is go for that first, and then whatever else they bring, all those credits, great. It's not a normal job. There's no 9 to 5 ever. Sometimes I'm starting work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I decided to sleep in, which is fantastic. It's fantastic in that way, and that's one of the things that really drew me to this business. Is I never wanted every day to be the same, to always go to the same place, always working on the same stuff. And I thought, wow, filmmaking, you're constantly doing something different, and it's true. And sometimes you're not doing anything, which is really hard when you're going when it's job to job. It's almost always that way, unless you become a producer with a company, and then it is a 9 to 5 job. Yeah, that's what I should say. When you're in the creative, it's not normal. But there are many normal parts to it. If you become a producer, it could be 9 to 5. But that's a business sort of paperwork side of things, which is something I avoid like the plague. I like to be in the heart of it. I like ideas. I like to get my hands dirty. So even as a producer now, I'm producing more on the creative side of things. So I work with directors to help guide their ideas, look at the big picture, that type of thing. The pay is very unstable. You never know when you're going to be working again or how much you're going to make. Depending what company you work with and what the job is, it can fluctuate. There's no rules. You could get paid $20,000 on this job, and for the same work on this job, they only have $12,000 to offer you. And you have to evaluate, what are you going to do? And most of the time, you take it because you need to work.